Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. And let's move over to the West Coast here in the US. And they have been experiencing a lot of dramatic activity, ranging from seismic activity to natural disasters. I know in the last week alone, there has been a lot of dramatic seismic activity ranging from Nevada to Alaska to California, ranging from magnitudes of 5.8 to 6.3 to 7.0. There's been a lot of activity, and I was kind of going through some stories in the past several weeks and several months and going through the USGS.gov website, which is the U.S. Geological Services website. And there's been a lot of activity, all over, but especially on the West Coast. So we are thinking of you and watching cautiously. And please listen to any warnings of the officials might be putting out there. And also in California, oh my goodness, there are fires yet again in Malibu. We think about the awful fires that happened years ago that were just so destructive. And we are thinking of you. We are here to support you in any way we can. And I just hope everybody can get out. And it's nowhere near what happened years ago, but it happens fast in Malibu. When you get those Santa Ana winds and just the dry temperatures, it is just dangerous. So we are thinking of you, West Coast. So just please be safe. And it's the holidays. So, we want to have a time of joy, not a time of sadness. So we're keeping our eyes open out there for you. Now, moving over to some news in sports. Last week, we were talking about, I'm going to say it again, my hometown guy of Randy Moss. There was a lot of concern for him because several weeks ago, he was doing his Sunday football show on Fox Sports, and a lot of viewers were commenting on his yellow eyes. The following week, he actually came out and made an announcement that he was really going through some medical issue. He did not give any details. He did not disclose what he was going through, his medical diagnosis, or what he is suffering with. But it was something serious and it was internal. And he also sent out a message to men to please go get your blood work checked at all times, because you never know what you can find, but it's your health is worth it. So we discussed it a little bit last week on the show, and just a few days after we discussed it, he actually announced, and Fox Sports announced, that he was stepping away from the show for some time so he could rest and receive the treatment that is needed, and hopefully be on his road to recovery as soon as he can. But our thoughts go to you, Randy, to your family, to your wife, to your immediate family, to your football family, and to your fan family. We were all thinking of you, sending out nothing but goodwill and cheer and positive messages for recovery. But take all the time you need. But please, I hope you get the best specialist, the best care that you need. You know that you have the biggest cheer leading squad behind you, which is the nation. And probably, we're huge all over. Like we talked about all the games that are happening in Germany. So we are all over and we are all cheering for you, Randy. And I have to say, kudos to you, to the Fox network. They came out and announced immediately that that Randy Moss's position will not be filled at all. Nobody can take his space, and that is true. That he has a segment on there, and it's Moss's takes, and he gives his overview of plays and his thoughts about everything in football. nobody will be taking that over as well. So nobody will replace him. Nobody will be taking over his segment. But what they will do to fill the time of his segment is that the other announcers will kind of put their input and their takes, and their, I guess, their picks, to fill that segment. And I think that's awesome. And kudos to Fox for coming out right away and just making it very clear that our goal is to support our guy Randy, in his road to health and hopefully recovery. And he's got a spot here for whenever he's ready to return, however long it takes, and whenever he's ready. So Fox, great on you. And Randy, we're here cheering you on as well. And I thought there was such a beautiful and heartfelt speech from Tom Brady, his friend. What a bromance, those two. And it was really sweet. I went back and was watching some old interviews, and there was a really good ESPN interview. I want to say it was 2019, where Randy Moss was interviewing Tom Brady. And I think the clip that I saw on YouTube, I think the title was something like For the Love of Football. And it was like, Randy Moss was interviewing Tom Brady and asking him, why are you still in it? Are you still going to continue? This is before he retired. And why are you still in it? What keeps you driving even at this age? And they just see those two together. You can see it's such a friendship bromance. It was just such an easy conversation, an easy flow. There's such a mutual respect for one another. And Randy started the interview off so well. He's like, we grew up together at the height of our career, and we learned so much together, and we played off each other so well. And when you just get somebody who gets you, and it's such a wonderful thing. I have to say, because I always say how much I just love Randy Moss's Appalachian twang. It's just awesome. And I tell you that I feel like in that interview, like Tom was getting a little bit of an accent. I feel like he was. I feel like I held a little bit of a twang coming to Tom in that one. And when I go home to West Virginia and I hang around my friends from home, it comes back right away. So I feel like Tom was getting that from Randy Moss in that interview. But it was a really good interview. It was just great to see how close they were. And Tom had made a nice statement on behalf of his friend, wishing him goodwill in his health recovery. So Randy Moss, we adore you, and I best wishes to you, and we hope that you get healthy and you are happy, and we hope to see you back when you're ready. We're here for you. Speaking of health, how can we not get to the story that's really just completely dominating all news feeds on regular TV, cable networks, podcast, streaming news? It is everywhere. And that is the story of the murder of the CEO, United Healthcare, gentleman in Manhattan. And this brazen attack in front of people, just right in the middle of the streets of Manhattan. Just tragic, horrific story. There was a large manhunt, and the person that was of interest has now been charged. And I do not know what his plea has been to plea in court. I do not know, but the name is Luigi Mangione. He is a native of Baltimore, Maryland, and young guy. Grew up very wealthy, had extreme privileges in life, very well educated. It is such a tragic story, but a story that has really taken such an interesting twist. And not only did it just start off this just brazen attack, it was this manhunt for this killer, and it was just shocking. But immediately this story kind of took a twist to everyone's grievances about the healthcare industry. And trust me, I have major complaints and extreme grievances with the healthcare industry, with the insurance industry, you name it, all of it. And the corporatization of it. I understand the extreme frustration, anger, all of it. I get it. There is never any room for violence or harming anyone. Never, ever, ever. So the story originally was about the manhunt, but just immediately how it's turned to the conversations turned to how we are pissed about the healthcare. But now this individual who they think is the murderer, innocent until proven guilty. These are allegations. The police have charged him with, there is some evidence. They're saying that the fingerprints from the scene in the backpack, this individual, Luigi Mingione, was also caught with a gun. I mean, this story just kind of gets crazy. So they think this is the guy, right? 26-year-old guy. But what has happened in the internet world and social media, this guy has really kind of captured the interest of so many and are viewing him as almost like a Robin Hood-like character, hero, if you will. You know, people are offering to pay for his legal fees. People are in support of him. There has been this extreme backlash online about how this guy who he was caught with a manifesto that about his frustration and grievances with the corporate America, and it goes on. But people are taking on his cause and they are expressing their views on his causes. And it just can be, it's very concerning because, you know, will there be copycats? Could anything else? Could this energize and incite others? There's always that fear. And I think that is a normal fear to have. So it's the rhetoric online and what has been said, it's unsettling. It's very unsettling. And you have a lot of authorities coming out saying, please, we understand where you're what's going on and how upset you are, but violence is not the way to handle it. Please do not take actions in your own hands. Don't repeat this. Don't think this is normal. Don't think this is okay. They are completely just putting it out there. No violence. Peaceful protest is best. Consult your legislators, whomever you need to handle this the proper way, to go through your proper channels. Vote. That's why your vote matters and your elected officials matters. That affects you. So it's just really spiraling. And now there have been like mugshots going out online of other large CEOs. I don't know who's putting it out there, but it's getting a little scary out there on the internet world. And authorities are putting out there, do not react on this. You handle change the right way, and you want to fight the right way, the proper way. Violence is never the answer. Never, never the answer. But it is just interesting how this story has propelled this just underlying level of extreme anger that hits everyone. It does not matter socioeconomic base, nothing. It does not matter. There's going to come a point in everybody's life where you're going to need medical care. And in this country, it is just a major failure of a system. It's just awful. We need major, major, major reform. The fact that we don't have universal health care is just appalling to me. It is just absolutely, absolutely outrageous. And the fact that we don't have universal healthcare, education, it it just leaves me speechless. I'm so angry. I'm afraid to go. I don't want to go down that hole because I get very passionate and emotional about it. But the fact that people are so angry, they are raising money for him, and willing to pay his legal fees. I mean, there's a part of me that that he wanted to get caught. In my opinion, because there was a plan. I'm not saying the guy was skilled. I'm not saying he was masterful by any means in his planning or escape plan. At the end of the day, he wanted to harm somebody, this Luigi Mangione. And if this is the guy, if this is the guy, although when you see him getting out of the cop car, going into jail, and he's screaming at the cameras, it doesn't look good. So I don't know whoever your attorney is, but you got to clean that up a little bit. It's just such an interesting case. So anyway, I'm so passionate about this topic, and we need reform. But is this going to be the thing that does it? Because people are so angry. And now that everybody is so upset, and now there's fear. Is this what's going to cause change? Because this isn't what should cause change. It's just, it pisses me off. It just pisses me off. But again, there was a major crime that happened. There was a murder that happened. Justice needs to be solved for that individual, that family, and let's see where that court case goes. So another story that is that's come out of the news, and we talked about this the other week, is that there was the Wisconsin kayaker that was reported missing. After a long search, the police found out that he was actually not missing. He faked his own death and maybe fled to somewhere in Eastern Europe. And because upon the investigation into his laptop, they found that he was talking online to some female from Uzbekistan, and he's took out an insurance policy and all that stuff. Well, he has now turned himself in, and he is in custody here in the States. So I am interested to see the details of that story when it comes out. And there's probably going to be some Lifetime or Netflix story about that, because yeah. Now, another large story that has been in the news, and it's been everywhere. And if you're in the mid-Atlantic area and in a little bit north of that, it is a major story. And now the government has been finally talking about it, but it's been a major concern and stress for a lot of people in New Jersey, Pennsylvania. These things have been spotted in New York and Maryland, and I would probably guess Delaware. I don't really know, but I don't see how it couldn't. But it's these drones in the sky. These mysterious drones that have been everywhere. They originally, it's probably been about a week now, but at least several days. It kind of started off in New Jersey. They were around the Bedford golf course where Trump is. There's been some spottings around military bases, but all over Jersey. And so much so, there's videos everywhere. And now it's been in Pennsylvania. And you see a lot of videos coming outside of the Philly area, and there's some in Maryland that have come out. Now there's talking about it, some that have been hitting in New York, and no one knows what's going on. And it's kind of freaking everyone out a little bit. And the New Jersey governor, Murphy, came out and said that, what did he say? That there are no concerns for public safety. That's it. But it has now restricted some of the airspace for flight. Somebody was not able to get airlifted for emergency services because of these drones in the airspace. It's been unusual. So everyone has been taking videos and nobody's getting answers. And it actually ended up prompting 21 mayors to sign this letter and pretty much demand some type of response from the governor of New Jersey, which is, what is it, Phil Murphy, I think his name, but Murphy. And so what they were asking, like, look, if you're telling us that there's no concerns for public safety, you must know something, right? Because why would you say that if you don't have anything to back that up? Because it's concerning. It's concerning. You're not telling us what it is, and we don't know what it is, and it doesn't look like anything that we're familiar with of technology. So what is it? And if you know something, you need to let us know something or give us something. And now there's a lot, Capitol Hill, there's a lot of senators and representatives of the House saying, we need to know what it is. And this isn't technology that we're familiar with. And if it's ours, we should know it's ours. You don't need to give us any top secret information. Just say, we are aware of it. It is ours. If it's not ours, we should know that as well. So if you know something, you need to let us know, because it sounds like members of Congress do not know what it is either. And again, if it's top secret, you can leave it top secret, but inform us of sometimes it's ours. It's ours. Nothing to see, nothing to worry about. So we need to know something, but it's a big deal. It's been a consistent thing for several days. So we need to know. I mean, and it's a lot, and there's patterns. And so it's been huge here in, like I said, the Mid-Atlantic area. What's in our skies? We're used to helicopters. We're used to military aircraft all the time. We hear it constantly. There's a lot of military bases around. And so nothing new, but I haven't seen that before. So can you please tell us what it is? And there's just been so much in the last couple of years about this kind of information, a slow drip of information coming out to the American public. So can you give us something, please? So drones, what are they? Are they drones? Are they military craft? Can you please let us know? I was watching a video of some police, and I don't know if it was Jersey or Pennsylvania, but there were some police that, had some really nice drones that they use for, whatever incident that they might have. And when they went up, they're like, okay, first of all, they are much larger than these huge professional drones. They look like winged kind of craft, and we have never seen anything like that. So, I mean, even though we're a little freaked out, so please tell us what is happening. Now, another story that has been in the news, it's just been so much going on in the news. There has been more fallout from Diddy. There are more accusers coming out, and all the time. And the stories just keep getting worse. I mean, just when you think, oh my God, that is such an awful story and just disturbing and sick. Yep, some of more of the accusations that come out kind of get worse. Now, let me just make a legal note. Diddy has denied all accusations. He is still declaring his innocence, and so is his legal team. Innocent until proven guilty, and everybody will have their time in court until that time. Innocent until proven guilty, and he's denied everything. However, lots coming out. And then this past week, there was an accuser that came out with Jay-Z. Now, again, Jay-Z has denied all accusations. So, I mean, the fallout is happening. It is happening. How many other accusers are going to come out? How many other celebrities are going to be thrown into this mix? It's going to get really serious really quickly. And there has been conversations that when the new administration comes into office in government, transparency is what they really want to express and what they want transparency to the American public. And there's word, and who knows, just rumors, that's the Diddy lists and all the stuff about it that's coming up in the investigations could be coming out. Some of the court documents might be getting leaked a little bit, and we might find out whose names are on the list. And wow. They also talk about the Epstein list coming out too, the stuff that hasn't been completely redacted. So we shall see about that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people sweating in Hollywood, a lot of sweat in Hollywood. But again, with Jay-Z, he's declared his innocence. He said he's denied all accusations. But I mean, it was a pretty nasty accusations that came out a bit against Jay-Z. We shall see if we hear anything about that. But Jay-Z's asked that the accuser come forward because he believes that that's only fair, or their legal team or whomever. So we'll see if that gets any traction. But like I said, the ball is in motion. So we'll see what else is coming to fall out. And kind of piggybacking on that, we were talking on the last Pollywine show last week about Jamie Foxx's special coming out on Netflix, titled What Happened Was. And did you see it? Came out the other day, was on the 10th. I watched it, and Jamie Foxx, it's like you really haven't missed a beat. You are just such an artist and a genius. It is really great to see you back on stage. And what do you say? It's been like 16 years since he's been on stage. So it's like you haven't missed a beat. And considering what you have gone through in the last year and a half, I mean, to say remarkable, extraordinary, incredible is just not enough. It was a very heavy topic. And when he talked about what happened with his medical scare, very heavy conversation. He was very emotional during it, rightfully so. The fact that he still had his humor about him is just incredible. But let's get into that. Let's backtrack a little second. But what I wanted to say, because I wanted to kind of tie that into the previous story that we were just talking about with Diddy. There were conversations on the internet before this special that Jamie Foxx in the special may allude to Diddy. Maybe drop some hints, maybe in a roundabout fashion. I never thought, honestly, that he was going to come out and say Diddy's name for anything. Maybe drop some cryptic messages where you might, think that it was him. No. Especially with the ongoing investigation, I'm sure that at some point Fox has been contacted, but I never ever thought that he would actually say his name, and he did. Just saying very clearly that Diddy laughing in like almost like a devil style, standing there with a bottle of Johnson & Johnson's oil, laughing. And when everybody in the audience, when he said that, was just like, oh, like gasped for air and just was shocked. I did the same thing. Again, I never thought that he would actually say Diddy's name, and he did. He is obviously in a point of, I don't give a shit. So, wow. I mean, I want to know what he knows. I'm sure he has been interviewed by the proper authorities. But oopsie, he knows stuff. But because he knows everybody in Hollywood. He's been around forever. So yeah. Wow. I don't know. Do I want to know? Maybe I don't want to know. But again, I never actually thought he would say Diddy's name, but he did. And let's get into his medical emergency. This was I mean, just heartbreaking to hear what he went through. And he's right. When you think about your life and the successes of life, you never think about the hardships, the medical stuff, the bad days. I thought that that was quite a poignant thing to say because he went through so much. When he said he had this just awful headache, he asked somebody next to him to grab him an aspirin. And before he even got the aspirin, lights out. He remembers nothing. Nothing. Just that alone. So frightening. Just such a scary thing. And what, I mean, I don't want to say shocking. I don't think I was shocked. And this kind of goes back to my frustration about the medical field industry, insurance, all of that. It ties like, look, there are a lot of wonderful people in the medical industry, and I'm sure on the other side of it, in the insurance, I'm sure there's many wonderful, but you know, there are a lot of hiccups and bumps in the road. And with all good experiences, I'm sure there's a counterweight of bad and not so good experiences. So, but when he was talking about the first hospital he went to after he, you know, had that medical situation, the doctor gave him a cortisone shot and sent him home. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then his sister, thank God, and he talked about this, thank God that when there's an emergency and you cannot speak for yourself because you're not thinking clearly, or you don't have the ability to speak, you need someone who knows you more than anyone and somebody who will speak and fight for you. And thank God he had his sister there. He was saying this little 4'11" girl was my fighter, my warrior, my hero. And she was, because she looked at him after he was discharged, was like, oh no, there is something very, very wrong here. And I don't give a shit what that guy just said. We're going somewhere else. And thank God she did, because when he went to the other hospital, I think he said it was Piedmont, that when he went to the other hospital, the doctor immediately was like, we have a serious situation on here. He has a brain bleed that has led to a stroke. And we have to act now. And absolutely, when it comes to a stroke or any brain injury or bleed, especially, I'm just saying, mostly stroke, when I'm talking about stroke, time is of the essence. Every second matters. You know, there is an acronym that is used in when you were taught like CPR in the first aid classes, or the Red Cross. Use it at any time if you're calling 911 and in the medical field, that if you think there is any time that somebody might be having a stroke, you use the acronym FAST. 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 That stands for face, arm, speech, and time. That means if his face is drooping, okay, their arm is not working or is having numbness, when their speech is slurred, things like that, and time. That's what FAST, FAST, face, arm, speech, time. If you think anybody's having a stroke and you call 911, you say fast or you say stroke, stroke, stroke. They need to know, they need to get there immediately, because seconds that turn to minutes is when brain damage starts. You know, oxygen is not getting to the brain, and that is when damage starts to settle in. So the fact that Jamie Foxx went to a hospital and was sent home with a stroke, oh my God, it is so infuriating. Thank God he had his sister that was, you know, his advocate for him in that time of need. Thank God he received the medical care that he needed. Thank God. And just the fact that he is on stage and he looks so well. I mean, it doesn't look like he has any residual effects. He may, but the fact that he's walking, talking, seems so with it is just it's a miracle. It is absolutely a miracle. And shout out to the medical care team that helped him. But wow, I mean, it's not shocking to me. You know, I talk about my situations often with the healthcare industry, not specifically, but just as a whole. I'm constantly swimming with medical stuff, and it's frustrating. But to hear it happening to him, oh my God, it's just wow. What an incredible story of fight and recovery, just remarkable. But what just a terrible story of how the ball was dropped in his care. Oh my God. Wow. But what a great special way to keep your humor. He's so talented. It was a great special. So funny. What a story. What a story. Worth watching. Worth watching. Jamie Foxx, it's so good to have you back and to hear the stories about his healthcare. Funny. I've been in those situations with a family member who has been in a coma for a long period of time and had a stroke, and they were not able to walk and talk, and they needed full care. And to see how difficult that is, and to hear him when he was talking about, they constantly check in on that patient to see where they're standing neurologically, how they are. And when he was saying, a couple days I was Denzel Washington, and then I was this person, I was Dave Chappelle. I mean, that is great. When he said, if I just keep my humor, I'll keep my wits about me. So true. So true. And I say this all the time, even to doctors, and they always agree that humor really is sometimes the best medicine. So Jamie Foxx, wow. Again, great story. Great to see you back. Great special. And again, shocked about the name drop. But God, his impressions are so good. Jamie, we loved it. Great special. Now let's get a little bit over to TV. If you haven't watched The Jackal on Peacock, very, very good. I'm really enjoying it. There was a new show on Netflix that everybody was telling me to watch, kind of a suspense drama, The Madness. I've watched a little bit of it, kind of into that. I'll get back to you on that one. I just need to get a little bit more into it. That's been very enjoyable. There has been an oldie but goodie that has kind of come back up in my revolving door of in and out of, TLC. And again, that's the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. I haven't talked about it in a while. And there is a new one that is out. Out of all of them, I always say the other way. 90 Day Fiancé, the other way is my favorite, when the American goes to another country to be with their person. And that one's great, but they brought back they started last year, maybe it was this year, another spinoff. There's so many, but another spinoff of the franchise, and that's called the 90 Day Fiancé The Last Resort, where they bring old couples that have cycled through the old franchise and bring them back. And the first season, I watched a little bit, and there were a lot of some of the couples from more recent seasons. And although that was decent, I only kind of came in and out. To be honest with you, I kind of only watched the tell-all. Sean Robinson, you kill it every time. And it was okay. But like I said, it was some more of the more recent couples, so they really hadn't gone through the thick of it. Now, they have a new season 2. And I kind of stumbled across it the other day. I was looking for something else, and I saw it on HBO Max. They have some of the TLC shows, and I watched it. Now, on some of the 90 Day Fiancés, if they want to really kind of do a spinoff, there's a couple things that you can do as a guarantee, like either Single Life and things like that, to get the ratings, because there's some old favorites, right? And that is Gino and Jasmine and Crazy Natalie. And I'm going to say Crazy Natalie because Natalie even says that herself. So I guess if she's recognizing that, she's very hot-tempered, unpredictable, and I mean, Natalie is great entertainment, and so is Jasmine. So of course, they're going to bring those two back, and they should. They're really good. I love Jasmine. Jasmine, if you want to come on the show, I'd love to have you. But they're great. And then they brought back Rob and Sophie. And I'm trying to think of the other. Oh, a good old one, Brandon and Julia. And I like them. They haven't been on in a while. So they've been married for some time. So it's good to see them because they've had a couple years under their belt. They worked through some kinks. So I like that. I like that. I would say, is it 5 years, maybe somewhere around there? That's just a guesstimate. But that's a couple years. There's a foundation with the marriage. So I like that. They're not just recently married and really haven't had time to kind of work through the big stuff. All right. Then who else? There's a couple other ones. But those are my favorite. There's a couple other ones and it'll come back to me. Oh, remember Stacy and Darcy? They had that spinoff, The Twins. So you've got Stacy and Florian. You have Binion and Ariel, the girl that moved to Ethiopia from that guy. There's a couple other ones. But those couples have been really good. And again, you can say what you want about Jasmine. She loco. I like her. I like her element of loco. I like her degree of it. I think she's great. And the fact that Gino's family all love Jasmine and agree with Jasmine and are Team Jasmine, I think speaks volume, Gino. So I think he really tries to put it on a little too clean. And for the TV, for the cameras, I am not feeling it. I think Jasmine needs to walk away. Even if she did come just for her green card, that girl earned her shit. Okay, so give it to her. That girl's put in the time. She's put in the effort. She's put in the suffering. Yeah, she's earned every penny she gets from the show. Hopefully, I hope she gets paid well from the show because she helps make the show. But she earned it. She worked for it because Gino gives me such a level of ick. But Natalie, Cuckoo Natalie, I love watching her. And that guy Josh she's with, don't trust him. Run, girl. Run fast. Run super, super fast. But 90 Day Fiance, this is a good one. And I kind of fast forward through the therapy session. Sorry. Don't want to see that. I want to see the drama. I want to see the drama. And you can guarantee that with Natalie. You can guarantee that with Jasmine. I think, you really Jasmine needs to divorce, in my opinion. I think she needs to get away from Gino. That is the most dysfunctional and unhealthy relationship. But I want to see her date. She needs like a love connection dating game for just Jasmine. I think it'll be really good. And speaking of Love Connection, we lost Chuck Woolery, the host of the Love Connection, several weeks ago. So our hearts go out to you, Chuck Woolery, and his family. You were the man back in the day. I mean, he had that, Love Connection, Scrabble. I think he did Wheel of Fortune for a little bit. But that's what Jasmine needs. She needs a good dating thing, and she needs to get away from Gino. Now, that hot mess of high drama, tension, dating, breaking up, high conflict. Let's move over to Vanderpump Rules. So, did you hear, and getting over into our Bravo universe, that Vanderpump Rules is doing a full reboot? The only person that's coming back is Vanderpump herself, which of course she's the queen. But I think Peter is still going to be coming back to the show. Now, I understand that this is probably where the show had to go. The cast did not get along. I had heard now rumors on the internet. Is it true? I do not know. That a lot of the cast were asking for more money to shoot for the new season. Is that true? Is that not true? I would think so, because the last 2 seasons, it was, high viewership because of the fallout of the Scandival situation. So I would think that a lot of the crew and the cast, pardon me, would probably want raises. So is that true? I don't know. But nobody got along. Nobody wanted to film together. So I can understand why they would need a reboot. Now, I just don't think it's a good idea. I personally do not want to see a 2.0 of Sir staff trying to make their way. Been there, done that. You struck gold the first time with the cast. It was great. We watched them grow up. We watched them get married, have families. That was kind of nice to see the evolution of those members like Sheena and Kristen and all of those that we've seen grow over the years, even freaking Jax. I just don't want to see it again. And I just don't think, in my opinion, the reboots don't work for me. And I'm going to go immediately to Roni. I love the original New York cast, Real Housewives of New York. They were great. And again, I'm telling you, Peacock, Bravo, and NBC Universal. That's right, NBC Universal, right? Crappy Lake was awesome on Peacock when you had the Countess and Lady Morgan. Gold. Absolute nail in the head winner. They need to have a dating show. But I understand why you pulled that. They were not getting along, and a little bit with Ramona was a little problematic. So I can understand why you wanted to switch it up. But the full reboot to just take everybody away from us, I don't think ended well. I have tried to watch the new Roni. I have tried. I am bored to tears. I can't get into it. I do like Jenna Lyons. Not into anybody else. Nothing personally. So that reboot was not a success for me. So Vanderpump Rules, let's see where that goes. Is everybody from the cast of Vanderpump Rules going to move to the Valley? Because the Valley actually had a very successful first season. I don't know where you can go from here, because what was in the sauce on that season that made it so good was that it was just chaos. You had the real estate couple that were breaking up because that was dysfunctional. You had Brittany and Jack's drama. Kristen always brings chaos, and Kristen's pregnant. So they're going to have a good storyline coming back into season 2 on the Valley. But how many strays is the Valley going to get from the original cast of Vanderpump Rules? Is Sheena going to try and come in? Didn't she just buy a house in the Valley? Is Lala going to try and work her way in? Because she was just on Watch What Happens Lives not that long ago with Andy. She just had her baby and she looks amazing. And she talks about there's not a lot of people from the cast that she gets along with. There's a few she talks to, but not many. So I don't know. We shall see. But I'm going to be watching the Valley. I'll try. But if the new Vanderpump Rules is anything like Southern Hospitality, I can't get into Southern Hospitality. I haven't even been able to get into Southern Charm. To me, that ship has sailed. Now, so quick little retouch on some other Bravo shows. Potomac, not too much happened this past week. Giselle was talking about how she's trying to have her father's will thrown out because she thinks that somebody may have either fraudulently signed it or maybe forced him into signing it, even though she said he was incapacitated at that time following brain surgery and was not able to sign it. It's just a really unfortunate situation, her and the family into it. I mean, you saw moments in the past with Giselle and her father. It seems like they had just a really wonderful, close relationship. Just an unfortunate, tragic situation with her family. Unfortunately, it happens way too much with families when there's a passing and will. That shit gets messy. It gets messy. And I've seen some of the best, closest families that just seem like the perfect family. And when there's a death in it and money's involved, shit gets ugly really quickly. So there was that. Not too much happening. More drama with the new girl Katie and her man TJ. So many thoughts about that, but whatever. Now, Beverly Hills been really good. I'm enjoying watching Dorit kind of freaking out on everyone. So good. She's like an animal backed into a corner, and she is losing her shit on Kyle. I think she should. She's kind of losing it on Sutton. And I feel for Dorit. I really, really feel for Dorit. She is in crisis mode. She really is in a crisis. She is. Her world is exploding right now. She's separated everything that she's known, has been familiar with as in a family life, has been just completely just taken away, just completely upset. So that is a hard place to try and find that balance. And I really feel for her. And I feel like a lot of people are not being very empathetic and sympathetic to her in this time of need. I understand that Kyle's kind of going through her own struggles right now with her separation with Mauricio. It's got to be so painful. But even though that she's going through something so awful, I feel like she's just turning on Dorit, and that really bothers me. And Dorit even said something very, very, direct in this past episode when they were fighting at the table at in Oceanside, California, that trip that Kathy had planned. And that was, our husbands are closer than ever, and this time during separation. And we couldn't be further apart, and we're close friends, and now we need it. And I find it interesting that they're all fighting over Teddy. And I think that I understand where Dorit's coming from. And I think Dorit definitely needs to express herself and get it all out. I hope her point's not getting lost, because I think a lot of the other women are getting frustrated because their story's not coming out. And I just don't know how sympathetic they're being. And that bothers me a bit. But again, loving the new girl, Boz. And I love Jennifer Tilly as the new friend of. I think she is just like sprinkles on top the whipped cream on the sundae. She is just the perfect addition. I love her. And Salt Lake City has been killing it. Angie K just got kicked out of another party. And Meredith, we all know you wanted to. Why are you having security at a bar mitzvah? What? You've been waiting to throw this woman out for seasons, and you finally got your chance. Angie K, like she said, I'm 100 pounds. What are you going to do? You're going to throw me out? And they did. So there's so much that I want to unpack with Salt Lake City. We're going to have to get into it in the next episode, because I really want to get into Mary. I really want to get into Bronwyn. I just need a little bit more time, but we've discussed so much today. There's just been so many topics in entertainment, in news, what's happening in the U.S., politically. Again, it's everything. And it's around the holidays. We should be, in a state of love and joy and peace. And it just feels like we're in a a tornado and a spiral effect. It's let's see if we can all turn it around. So, on that note, thank you so much for being with us today. It has been great talking to you. Please, if you have any thoughts, inputs, anything you want to discuss with shows, topics, please catch me on Instagram at PollyWineTime. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast feed, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, you name it, iHeart, we're there. Thanks so much for joining us today, and catch you next time. Bye.